Hi everyone and welcome to my channel. In this new video I'm going to talk about romantasy books that are actually good. You may or may have not heard a lot of books on TikTok, Instagram, like recommendations, and you don't really know if they're actually worth reading or worth buying. So the first romantasy book that I recommend with everything is Powerless. This book is written by Lauren Roberts and she's one of my main favorite authors at the moment. Her style of writing is so good and unique. It's like a kind of style that you just want to keep reading and you don't want to put the book down. That's what this book does to me. It's so good and the characters have a big romantasy, okay? You guys, it's enemies to lovers to enemies to, I don't know. Because the third book will come out in April 2025. I have read Powerless. She has two other books, a novella Powerful and a second book in the series Reckless, which just came out this summer. So Powerless is the first one and I recommend this series so much. There's no spice in this book, so it's perfect if you don't like those kind of things. There's a lot of tension. Like, the two characters love each other, but they cannot be together. It's like that kind of way, and I just love how this book is written, and I recommend it with all of me. So please, if you trust me and believe me, read this book. So the next book is The Cruel Prince. This is like what you want to call enemies to lovers. It is amazing. It's about a human girl who falls in love with a fae prince, and they cannot be together in any type of way, but they fall in love. And in the first moment it's like enemies. They're both enemies of each other. They hate each other, but they still catch feelings. It's in a fantasy world called Elfheim with faes, and it's perfect, beautiful written, and it has 3 books. This is the first one. You also have The Wicked King and Queen of Nothing, which are both very cool, and you have also more like novellas and side books. Lilac is actually what you call romantasy. It's an enormous fantasy book with romance like crazy. Lilac has actually 2 romance sides. A book that happens every 100 years becomes like Lilac, and then people from around every little place come there, and then there's this good person and the evil guy, and she actually falls in love with both of them. And now we're all waiting for the 3rd book to come out, Sky Shade, and it will come out in November, I think so, yeah. I'm so excited for this book. It's so good, and wow, I think it's amazing and I think you should read it. One of my favorite book series of all time is Once Upon a Broken Heart. This book is so cute. It's a series of 3 books and this is like romancy. It's so adorable. It's like a cute little romance in a fantasy world, which is perfect. Like alone, the cover alone looks super adorable. I think everyone should read it. Like having motorcycle classes outside. I don't know, it's crazy. But it's like enemies to lovers. You know, like I should actually make this video enemies to lovers. It's like romantasy is mostly enemies to lovers, which I think everybody likes to see. It has so much tension in the books, and that's the thing that you want if you want to keep reading. It's that little tension. And this book is called The Prison Healer. It's also a series. The Prison Healer is not that famous, I think. I mean, I haven't seen a lot of things about this book. I think it deserves way more attention that people give it. It's about a girl who's been locked up in Zalindov, which is a deadly prison, and then she gets rescued by the prince of Valences. Later on she discovers she is from the prince's enemy, like that's who she is. She doesn't know her mother was the queen and that they've been enemies forever, and she still falls in love with him, and eventually she finds out what she is. And it's like an enemies to lovers, well, not really enemies, it's like they get lovers really quickly, like friends to lovers, back to enemies, back to lovers. That's what this series is. And I think it's worth the hype. It's 3 books and they're all masterpieces. A lot of plot twists. Like, this author loves plot twists, I can tell you that. Which I believe are, like, you get very hooked into a book if you read this. It's like you don't want to stop. Then I have this book that's been all around my For You page for a while, but has disappeared now. It's One Dark Window, and this is not really like a big romantasy. It's more like a dark aesthetic romance. I really enjoyed how this book was made, and there is romance in it as well. It's not that like the book is about romance, it's more the book is about fantasy and the character development, but there is still romance, and that's what wanted me to keep reading about this book. I got a little bored, but then there was romance, and then I was like, yeah, I want to keep reading. And I think it's so cool, and only the cover alone looks very mysterious, very dark, misty, you know, it's like suspicious. You want to see what is this about. It looks so mysterious, yeah. And that's also what I thought when I bought this book. And I just like, the other day I walked with my boyfriend at the bookshop, my local bookshop, and I saw this book, and it's gotten a new version. It's got like, here you have these edges that have like colored, like they're golden edges, but on the version that I have, they don't shine. The version now has like shining edges, like not edges, but like these corners of the book. That is so cute. I love it. I love when a book has this. It's so cool. I actually just want to buy the new version, but I don't have money for that. I shouldn't spend on money. Like, I shouldn't spend money on that. But if you want that version, go get it because it's really cute. So Shatter Me is one of my favorite books that actually got me into reading. It's crazy to say this. My actually first book that got me into reading was Narnia. But Shatter Me got afterwards, and I've started reading Shatter Me 2 years ago in the summer vacation, and I read this book in incredibly record time. Like, I was not into reading at that time, and I was so hooked into the series that the first day I started reading it, I already ordered the second book in the series, and now I have the entire series, of course. This is Enemies to Lovers. If any book describes enemies to lovers, it's this one. Because this is just all about enemies to lovers. I mean, Juliet and Aaron, I think everyone knows about Aaron Warner. I myself have had an obsessive moments of Aaron Warner. I've made a lot of edits about him. Yeah, it's so good. It's so good. I literally love Tarifa Mafi. She's also one of my favorite authors. And there is another book coming, Watch Me, and it's about his little brother, Aaron's brother. What? Like, Aaron's brother was in the books like around 10, and right now in the book he'll be 20. I'm so excited. I can't wait to buy it and to read it because this series has me hooked from the moment that I started it. I've made so many TikTok edits about this series, and there's like an enormous fandom about this series, so I guess that speaks for itself. You should read it, and only about my excitement you should read it. Because it's amazing. So the English in this book is actually not hard. It's pretty easy written, which I think is perfect if you find English a difficult language, or you don't really, or like you want to read English books but you're scared because you think you're not gonna understand. This book is your best friend. I think it will help you a lot with understanding. I recommend reading this if you find English difficult. So then there's Throne of Glass, which is my all-time favorite series of all time. It's amazing. I can tell you like a full day talking about this book. Like, I'm not even joking. I think this book is worth every little excitement that people has given it. I think it's the masterpieces of books. It's amazing. And also romantasy. Throne of Glass is a big fantasy book, and the first book's not really. Afterwards, yes. It's all about fantasy at the end, and there are a lot of romance in these books, like different moments, romance, different people with romance. It's an entire universe, this series, and that's what reading it could be scary, because this book has like around 7-8 books, which is a very scary thing. It took me a year to finish these books because especially at the end, the books become like incredibly big, like 1,000 pages. Yeah, you don't read that just like fast or easy. It takes a while, and I also didn't want to finish it at all, so I just pulled it like off me, and I was reading other books and I didn't want to finish the series at all. The last book is incredibly sad knowing the story ended, and I recommend this with all of me. I really think you should read it, and I think you will like it or love it. You will love it, definitely, you will love it. There's a different kind of way how to read it. Let me just explain to you what for me are the best ways to read Throne of Glass, because I think a lot of people don't know how to read it. There's many other different kind of ways. So the way I read it, which is chronologically normal, you start with the first, Throne of Glass. It's the first book of the series, it's the name of the series. Logical that this is the first book that you should read. Better is to start with this one and then go ahead with Assassin's Blade. That's this one. Some people read this book first. I don't recommend that. I recommend reading this one first and then this one. Why do people do that? This book happens before Throne of Glass happens. But what I say, read this book first, because you'll get introduced to the characters and you'll understand like the world and the storyline better if you start with this one and then this one. Yeah, for me it was the best way. I wouldn't want to switch it. So read this first, and then you obviously go with Crown of Midnight, Heir of Fire, Queen of Shadows, and the rest of the books. So that's like just getting you understanding this, because it's important that you read it like a good way. And many people say it differently, and like I say, I think this one's the best, I think this is the best version. No. I believe, or I think that the way I just told you is the best way to understand and get into the storyline better. So then I also have like Divine Rivals and Ruthless Vows. It's a duology of books, and it's also romantasy. It's like a cutesy romance with two writers, and I think it's worth the hype, and I think it's worth mentioning it in this video because it's just really good, and I really think you should read it. Or at least, yeah, I really think you should. It's about two typewriters who fell in love with each other throughout magical typewriters, and it's incredibly cool. I really think you should buy it. So that to be said, those are all my books that I own and that I believe are the best romantasy books for you. I hope you learned something about this, or if you've like got something about this video. I really hope that, because I love making videos about books. And if you guys have any recommendations or things that you would love to see me doing, please comment it in the video, because it will be very helpful to know what you guys are interested in to look at, and that I can make this happen for you. So to end this video, I want to thank you so much for watching. It means a lot to me. Don't forget to like and subscribe on my channel, and hopefully I'll see you in the next video. I've made a kind of like schedule right now. I'll be posting every Wednesday and Sunday at 5 p.m. Thank you so much for watching. See you in the next video. Bye bye.